off anyway. Okay. So, Tanja, thank you so much for coming today. It's a wonderful, beautiful weather outside, and it's great that you're spending time with us. And last time when at the lunch, you already talked about a little bit about what you do and who you are and your techniques. Today, we want to talk about it a bit more in detail, so people can understand where you come from, what do you do, and what is theta healing, and then share some stories if we have time. So let's start with Tanja. You grew up in Germany. I'm sure a lot of people are fascinated about how is it like to grow up in Germany, and tell us a little bit about your story growing up, and what made you feel you want to become a coach or a healer to help other people.
Yes, thank you very much, Jan. Thank you very much, Victoria, for having me today at the Clarity Project again. And yeah, for me, growing up was very much connected to nature. So I spent most of my free time as much as I could in the woods out. So I was living in a small town and had a lot of opportunity to experience myself outside and experience nature and have a very deep connection with it. And I think this is basically also the foundation for what has happened later on in my life, because at that early age, I already knew that there's something more to life, and life is very special and sacred, and that we can communicate with almost everything that is around us, and that there is a level of a feeling, knowing and sensing that goes deeper than what we usually do when we are in our everyday life. And it took a few years until I got back to this knowledge and this understanding. So when I was in my early 30s already, I met a few people who were into spiritual healing, which is a way of connecting with yourself that goes beyond your normal everyday thinking and problem solving that you usually do, but tapping more into how you feel about yourself and what else is there to your being. And that kind of opened me up to this avenue of profession. I saw what other people could do, and I was interested, and I started learning about it, and got onto a journey to find out what is my modality, how would I like to do it. And I found theta healing, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay, great. That's a wonderful story you're sharing, because for a lot of Chinese people who grow up in a very crowded environment or in big cities, we don't really see a lot of nature. In Germany, there are beautiful, beautiful nature that is so inspiring, so wonderful. And I see there are a lot of books behind you. What are those books? What are your favorite books?
As a child, I was reading a lot of fantasy books and immersing myself in stories. And I'm a big lover of everything that is science fiction, everything that you have to have great imagination about. And today, when you look at my shelf, you almost only find non-fiction books but they are still going in the same direction. I'm very much interested in what is the human potential. So what are we capable of? And very specifically, what can we do with our minds? So we are very intelligent beings, and we have done amazing things already on this planet. Also, we have done some not so amazing things, but I'm very interested in what actually can we do with our minds. And theta healing is a way of accessing a part of your mind that is very, very intelligent, and that is the subconscious mind. And so the books behind me are speaking to that and showing aspects and ways of doing that.
Yeah, great. So tell us a little bit more about theta healing, how it's like, how does it work? Do you have in Chinese, if you want to learn something in China, you will have a master or a big teacher. What is it like to learn theta healing, and what does it do for people?
Yeah. So first of all, what you can notice with theta healing, so it came into the market and into the world in the 1990s by a woman called Diana Stiebel. She is an American, and she had put out some books and courses to teach people about this. When you take a closer look at it, what you can find is what theta healing combines is everything that we know about from ancient times about healing, and combining it what we know today from modern quantum science. So it's basically bringing this together in a very fruitful way. And of course you can learn, and there's a multitude of courses out there. There's loads of teachers all around the world, also in China, also in Japan, where you can enroll in courses and learn it. And the basic understanding is that we can, it's a spiritual modality where you learn how to tap into your subconscious mind. So you can think of, you have your everyday thinking. So if you are problem solving, if you're going through your everyday life, if you are at work, then the part of yourself and the part of your brain that is active and that you are using is the frontal lobe that is behind your front. And that is where your personality is and all of that stuff. So that's your basically your logical thinking or whatever you have. And what we're doing with theta healing is we shift the vibration, the frequency of the brain. So throughout the day, you have different stages that your brain go through, and we tap into that frequency where you are most open to the part of yourself, the part of your brain that is called the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is like a recording device. So everything that you have ever experienced in your life is kind of like stored into that. So whatever problem you have, whatever answer you seek, you can go there, and it's like a big fat archive, and you can find everything in there. So if you have a problem in life, I can help you to tap into your subconscious mind and see what kind of answers to your and solutions to your problem are there. And that is what theta healing does.
Okay, that sounds fascinating. Can you expand on from your experience? Well, nowadays we're very busy, everything is digital. How does lifestyle affect us?
You mean the lifestyle of being?
Yeah, the lifestyle we have now. How does it make us having to have a lot of problem in life? What's the source of why it's creating problem for us?
From my understanding, what is creating problems for us is that we disconnect from ourselves very much and from our own internal wisdom. As I say, we all have access to these parts of us that we call subconscious mind, where we have a big reservoir of intelligence that we can use for ourselves. So usually in these times, we look outside. So we ask other people, what do you think? How should I do that? There's tons and millions of videos on YouTube and everywhere. We collect a lot of information. But what we are not aware of is that all the information that we really need to progress in life is already there within us. And that is how I wish to help people, to connect them to their own innate wisdom and their knowledge that they already have, and the answers that they already have within them to move forward in their life.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think it's, I'm sure the way the work you do can help a lot of people. And for people already here logged in, please, if you have questions or if you feel you cannot understand, you can send the question to Victoria, and later on she will ask for you. And also when we're going on, if you later on, we will have some time for to have a Q&A with Tanja, and you can also ask then. Yeah. So next, I would like to ask Tanja is to share a couple of stories that in your life or in Theta Healing. And so it's a story can tell a lot of words. So from the story, people can understand how Theta Healing works.
Yeah. I'd like first of all to share my own story, because if it hadn't been for Theta Healing and the work that I do with myself or with the help of other colleagues who do Theta Healing, I wouldn't be sitting here today, because I was very much afraid of public speaking, of being on camera, putting myself out there, and I wouldn't even have a clear throat to articulate myself, because I was so tensing up and almost freezing, forgetting what I wanted to speak, and all of these things. So, and that was only a year ago. So that was when I started out, that I thought, okay, I have this business, I know how to help people, and I want people to know that I can do this for them. But I was too shy to do it, because I was afraid that something bad would happen. And Theta Healing has helped me very much to figure out, what am I actually afraid of? And I noticed that some of the fears that I had is that, and that sounds for most of people in the first place a little bit irrational, but there was a fear of that if I go on a stage, for example, to give a speech, that someone in the audience would kill me. It's crazy. I know it's crazy. And this, of course, this has not happened for me in this lifetime. But there was some kind of memory there, or I was tapping into some understanding that this is actually something that can happen. And we know from history that this is something that has in fact happened, that speakers on the stage have suddenly be killed. So I was tapping into that, and this kept me from going out. So I had to resolve that first before I could go on camera or before I could go on stage. And I think this is a very good example that already shows that there, when it comes to fears, there is much more to what meets the eye. So yes, on the front end, it looks like I am afraid of giving a speech on a stage. But if we go deeper into it and dig into the subconscious mind, we get to something very specific, but very, very much different, or that seems to be somehow unrelated. But that is the clue. That is where we want to get to, because if we can go down to that and release that, the situation that is at hand changes immediately, and then you can progress. So that is my own success that I have now here, and I'm very happy about it. I enjoy it very much. I'm now no longer afraid, but rather than excited, I'm excited actually if I can get an opportunity to speak. But also from my clients, there are people coming to me. So usually they don't come straightforward and say like, oh, I have this fear, can you help me with that? But they experience something in their life that is not quite working out for them. There was one woman once who came to me who had very severe migraine, so a very strong headache, and she had been on prescription drugs for almost all in her entire life, and she didn't know how to move on with it, and it was really taking away her joy and the way she could function in life. So she had a family of 4 children and a job and everything. So, and still every day she had these migraines and she couldn't figure out what. And we had a session and we questioned. So in Theta Healing, the questions are very simple. So when did this start? How does it serve you? What are you learning? What is it connected to? So it's a little bit like detective work. We're trying to find out what has actually happened in the first place to get the person to this problem that they are experiencing right now. And so the feedback that she gave me after the session is that the migraines went away and that she could move on with her life without the migraines, which is a great success. And it all comes down to the understanding, in her case, that she had a fear of being abandoned. And so being left alone, being left out. And I could help her to understand where that originated. And another part of theta healing is not only finding out, but also teaching. So there is a way of showing a person in an energetic way on the cellular level. We're now talking here more into that area, where you can show them something that they don't know yet. And I always explain it to my clients in a way that you know already everything. You are already everything. It's just a matter of you remembering that. So, for instance, she didn't know what it feels like to have a personal boundary, to say no, to be allowed to say no. She didn't know how to do that. So we kind of like activated this knowledge within her. And with that, she had a new way of acting in her life, which contributed to her not having to put on these migraines to create a boundary. So I don't know if that's plausible for now, but that is one story that was very successful.
Yeah, I think it's very empowering. That's not being able to say no, not being able to refuse requests from outside. It's a very common problem in many people, especially female. And because we cannot say no, our life is being squeezed smaller and smaller, and we become very, very small, and one day we're going to explode. So I'm sure the way you do this, for example, helping that lady, changed her life to a certain degree, or if not, changing her total view of life. So I think this is very, 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 very valuable. And for theta healing, in your case with dealing with your clients, usually how fast do you see a result, or it really depends on the issue or depends on the person?
So it's always very individual. So if sometimes it can happen very fast, it always happens something. So if you have a session with me, you can be sure that you come out of the session and you have learned something very deeply about yourself that is transforming your view of yourself and your life, and enables you to take another step in your life that is different from what possibilities you had before. That is something that always happens. But it can also, depending on what you're dealing with, it can be that you need a multitude of sessions to get to where you want to. So usually what I have learned, so from the past, I experimented with other healing modalities. What I can say for myself is that theta healing works very fast because it works on all the levels at the same time. We are not only looking at, okay, your own life and what is in the past, but we also look at what is happening in your family. So what is happening in your ancestral line, because we are connected to that. So if our parents had some issues, it's very likely that we bring this into our life as well, and going further back as well. And then there's also the understanding that as we are all part of a collective, so we live in our city, or we live in our country, or we're part of humanity, so we are also connected to all of that information. So, and in a theta healing session, and that is very special and different from other modalities, we also take that into account. And it even goes further with the understanding that we are not only this being here right now, but we are actually much bigger. We have a multitude of experiences that we either remember consciously or unconsciously, but they are influencing our daily lives, even if we don't know it. And with theta healing, there is an opportunity to tap into that as well. So if you would, and theta healing is no therapy in a classical sense, I make this very clear, but if you would compare these both, like having a regular speaking conversation with a therapist or doing a theta healing session, you would very much more quickly get to a specific point with the theta healing, because the view is much broader that we have. And yeah, that takes less time. So to figure out what's actually going on.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And next week, next Saturday, we're going to have your first workshop. It's a free workshop, and everybody is welcome to join. the session. Do people have to prepare, or what do we expect in that workshop?
So what you can prepare for is make yourselves very comfortable. So if you want to join, make sure that you are in a good spot at your home where you will feel safe and secure and where nobody can disturb you. So turn off your phone, mute all the signaling devices on your computer. Really take time for yourself. Bring some water to drink some water before that, and just come with the most open-minded state that you can be in. And what we will be doing, so the workshop is called Beyond Fear and Believing in Your Infinite Potential. So I will speak a little bit about that. I will go more into depth about the process of theta healing, but only very shortly. And the main part of the workshop will be to have you speaking a little bit to what is your current issue. So in terms of fears, what fears are probably happening in your life right now, or what are you afraid of if you think about moving forward in your life? And I will listen to that and take that into account. And then I will offer you an energy clearing, that it is called, or an energy transmission, where I take your information into account, and I offer you statements that could sound like, would you like to know what it feels like to live without this fear, or to be able to do this and that? And all you have to do is to say yes if you want this information, to receive it and to activate it in your subconscious mind and in your being. And that is very easy for you. So you really don't have to do anything more than just relax and be open and say yes for everything that you want. And then you will receive that. And you can see then after the workshop how you feel, and we can have a sharing about that. And yeah, then you move forward in your life.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I already so look forward to that already. And Tanja gave us 3 basic questions before the workshop to check with you. We will send out those questions in the group, and so that you will prepare more before the workshop and have a better result coming out of the workshop. And thank you so much, Tanja, for today's interview. There's a lot of information you already shared, and we know a lot more than last week already. And now we have a few minutes, just open the floor. Anybody who has question can openly ask Tanja. And if you have something specific to share, you can also share.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you.
Yeah, Yan, I think, oh no, yeah, Mickey, Ying, and Harry. And if you have any question, yeah, just open your mic and speak it out. Yeah. And before, can I ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So to be honest, I talked with Yan yesterday when we have a meeting. You know, so I joined a startup like after 5 years in a big company. And to be honest, so the biggest pressure I have that time is to be different from a majority people. Actually, joining the startup is not a very difficult thing, but the only pressure or the fear I have is that, okay, when I made that decision, my parents will face the pressure, and people will say, okay, her children or his child is quite different, and the people all have a very fancy and good-looking job, but she just, you know, in a very small and have no hope, no hope future company, something like that. Yeah, so I think, so after analyzing, I noticed that the fear I have to make any decision, like work, like my relationship or the marriage in the future, the fear is that I don't want my parents not satisfied with me. Yeah, so I just curious, like, I think that is also some questions that Chinese people have. So like, how can we break that fear, or eliminate that fear, so we can be a totally different person. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very excellent example. Thank you very much, because this is happening for everyone around the world, because family is very important. So and it goes back to the ancient times where we had tribes, and where it means that if you get excluded from your tribe, that means you are prone to be dead very soon, because the tribe gives you security, it gives you nourishment, it gives you a lot of things that are very important for the well-being of a person. And so we do almost anything, twisting ourselves to accommodate to whatever the tribe's need is and what their expectations are. So that is a very basic concept we have as humans in terms for our survival, and that is how fear basically comes in. It wants to keep us safe. So in a case where a person fears that, oh, I will be probably disappointing my parents, you can look deeper. What does that actually mean if I disappoint my parents? What is the worst thing about it? What could happen, or what would happen to me? What would happen to my life? What would happen to my parents? And this will open a door for new understandings of what kind of fears are probably behind this, and also open probably the gateways to understanding, oh, maybe this has happened somewhere in the past, or you have a memory of when that happened. And you don't want this to happen anymore. You don't want to lose your family, and you want to be part of it. And this understanding can be taught in a theta healing. So we can understand that we can be our unique selves, going onto our own path in life. And at the same time, it is possible to have a connection to our family, to our tribes, and have good connections with them. So and bring this into the space of love. So that is totally possible. And this is a very valuable understanding of creating our own identity, and having this discernment of what am I, who am I, what do I want, and what are expectations from others. And this is a brilliant topic, and it's very extensive. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tanja. That's already, I think it's very valuable to everybody here today, what you have said. And our time now is just on 1:40. And thank you very much for spending the extra 10 minutes with us. And next time we will be careful with the Zoom. I think there are some people cannot log in because of Zoom. We will find out what's happening, and we will next week we'll make sure people log in early, so these things don't happen. So thank you so much, Tanja, and we really appreciate your time and your effort and your knowledge transferred to us today. It's already brighter for me the day, and enjoy the sunshine outside. And we will stay a little bit longer, and then you can leave early. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jan. Thank you very much, Victoria, and all the guests that I could join today, and that I had an opportunity to share with you. And I'm looking forward to next Saturday for the next event for the workshop. And you're welcome to join. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening or day wherever you are, and see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tanja. Bye.
Bye. See you next week. Okay, so let me stop.